Dear colleagues, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. At the outset, I would like to extend a special thanks to His Excellency President Menekhanov for facilitating this conference at this time in world affairs. This conference is an excellent opportunity to review the social, political, and economic environment of Islamic countries for the objective of developing a clearer understanding of the challenges we face, as well as developing a common understanding on how to move forward in a constructive manner. Islam is a world religion, one of the three monotheistic religions. Based on 2015 data, Islam currently has over 1.7 billion followers, or about 23.4% of the global population are Muslims. As with all sustainable and growing religions, the principles and fundamentals in Islam are universal and address universal issues relevant to all humanity. In the Muslim world, common interests should dictate the need to address and secure the national well-being of Islamic countries. This means that there is a need for genuine, serious, and a clear dialogue. Islamic nations are currently engaging in various interfaith and multi-religious dialogue, but as of yet have not made the same effort to engage with different factions within Islam. Between 1941 and 1979, during the reign of the Shah, Iran had a peaceful relations with the Sunni Arab neighbors. Although there were lingering fears between several Arab countries and Iran, these fears were based on the rift between historical Persians and Arabs. The rift might be considered more political in nature than based on differences in religious interpretation. During the period and until the Iranian Revolution, which deposed the Shah, there was respectful cohabitation and peace between Sunni Muslims and Shiite Iran. After the Shah was deposed, a complete change in the relationship with Iran occurred. The two questions which need to be asked are: question number one, did Sunni Arab countries develop and maintain peaceful and productive relationships with Iran because of their own independent national interest, or did they maintain such a relationship because Iran was an important ally to the United States and the West in fighting communism, and as such, the West protected cooperative Islamic regimes? The second question: was the change in relationship based in an independent Arab assessment, or was the change in relationship instigated by the West to secure and support their interests? The answer to these questions reflects the depth of relationship between leaderships and the relevant parties. Are the current leaders of Islamic states proactively involved in securing and maintaining their own national interests, or do they pander to more defined and well-articulated Western interests? Currently, Sunni and Shiite states do agree on the plight of the Palestinians. These Islamic factions agree because the Palestinian cause is universal, with a very clear understanding of the injustice perpetuated over nearly 7 decades. The Palestinian cause is supported by both Islamic factions because their cause is clear and universal. With the existing sustained manipulation of global media, most global issues are manipulated in a way which makes issues unclear and which serves specific controlling interests and not the truth. As such, Islamic nations have had difficulty on cooperating of perceived differences in reality. Therefore, there is a need to craft, communicate, and agree upon a set of indisputable and common objectives which all Islamic nations can work towards, as well as set guidelines on how such objectives would be achieved. As we look at the Islamic and Arab world today, we see 3 types of reality. First type, Islamic countries such as Malaysia and Turkey, who have witnessed serious economic development based on the efforts of their citizens and sound progressive leadership. Second reality, oil-producing Islamic states and some Arab states have witnessed massive economic growth and development based on global demand for a strategic commodity, which is oil, which lies underneath the geography which they occupy. These countries are considered economically successful by virtue of the enormous natural wealth which they benefit from. The third reality, non-oil producing countries, which generally have poor economic performance based on the quality of their national leadership and based on the work ethics of the population. One of the edicts of Islam requires that Muslims support and help other Muslims. However, if we look at the general economic state of Islamic countries, things are generally not well. With the exception, again, of Malaysia and Turkey, and until recently Tunisia, citizens did not have a proper context or series of objectives to work towards. These objectives need to be a coherent set of national, international, economic, environmental, and legislative objectives. Without these defined objectives, the efforts of citizens and governments are unfocused and as such are squandered because they do not have a unified, common, and universal vision. Without such a vision, the foundation of Islam have no place to anchor, and as such, Islam remains a valuable construct with limited places for successful and effective applications. Many of the challenges faced by Muslims and Arab states are internal. and indicate leadership and policy challenges which lack vision and frustrate the hope required to motivate and inspire their population. The inter-Muslim fighting, which we are now seeing in Syria, Iraq, Libya, Yemen, and the increasing friction between Iran and several Gulf states, are to some extent externally instigated and feed on the fears, weaknesses, and lack of imagination of the existing states and their policies. One needs to question who benefits from the instigating of these externally generated challenges to identify why they are happening. In the recent past, the West was able to recruit Islam to fight on its behalf. First, to evict the Soviets from Afghanistan, despite the fact that the legitimate Afghani government of the time requested Soviet assistance. And today, to topple regimes in Libya, Syria, Yemen, and possibly other regions. These fighters were initially praised by the West as being the freedom fighters and the liberators. Now, however, these same groups are considered rogue international elements which threaten world security and peace. Regretfully, the energies which this type of Islam has recruited has not found a more productive and positive avenue of expression. Moreover, the creation and support of the supranational players such as Al-Qaeda, Daesh, Jabhat al-Nusra, etc., and the constant conflict against them make it difficult to define what success is. This conflict against terrorism is being promoted as a global threat, enabling foreign influence to be stealthily extended and maintained by creating chaos in the countries where conflict is being fomented. Armament companies have full order books. The price of strategic commodities like oil are being affected, and such, the world is being immersed in a never-ending and expensive conflict because there are international economic interests supported and furthered by this dismal state of affairs. The Russian Federation, who are home to substantial Muslim population, may also be a target to foment trouble in those states. Fortunately, responsible powers are guarding against such imminent dangers. Such troubles are likely to be promoted as a serious international diversion from more serious economic and social crises which the West has created and facilitated. Islam is a powerful and potentially unifying religion or way of life. It has not lived up to its potentials because it has generally not found a hopeful vision and a positive political leadership to ally itself with. It is incumbent on us here to help craft a hopeful and positive economic and social vision based on the universal values inherent in Islam to be able to harness its positive attributes and insulate it as much as possible from the likely negative external instigations which we continue to suffer from. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.